Hey, what's up guys? This is Foryam again, back with a new Minecraft Dungeons video. It's been a while since I posted a video, right? Also one with a face cam. I've been detoxing a little bit from YouTube and it was really nice to do some other things. Play some Minecraft, do some work on the SMP, which is gonna release this week. But I got so many questions of you guys regarding my current build in Minecraft Dungeons. What is my highest Apocalypse plus build pretty much for endgame? Which items do I use for speedrunning? There are so many different new enchantments right now. Also the Void Strike, should you be using it in your current build? I'm gonna answer all these questions today in my current build video. So guys, let's get right to it. Alright, so here we are in the base camp. You can already tell by the looks of my hair that it's been growing, guys. It's been growing. Let's call this the COVID haircut. But yeah, today we're going to talk a little bit about my build. So many people ask me to make a video about this because, of course, you want to know which items are the best, which enchantments are the best to play with on the highest Apocalypse Plus. There are different things you can do pretty much. Of course, focus on a tanky build, deal a lot of damage, go for speedrunning, and I'm also working on getting my hands on every single unique in the game, by the way. So little flex right here. But yeah, I think I need just a couple more and then I'll be able to showcase all the weapons, armor, artifacts, pretty much make a ranking video about all those as well. But let's start with the highest Apocalypse Plus gear because I currently have the speedrun gear. What am I using for the daily trials to defeat raid captains without a problem? Most importantly, guys, I think the Torment Quiver is one of the best artifacts. I just found it right there, so we definitely want to focus on that. Let's also go to the Enchanted tab because this is where I keep my favorite items. So the Torment Quiver, the Deathcap Mushroom, also a Gong of Weakening. One of the better artifacts out there is also the Ironhide Amulet because this one provides a major boost to defense for a short time. I mean, a 20-second plus duration, 25-second cooldown. If you have only one enchantment with artifact cooldown reduction, well, this one will be up 24/7, making you pretty tanky all the time. But I prefer to go with a more aggressive build. I'm gonna get to that in a second, why I take the Gong of Weakening instead of the Ironhide. But then we also have, of course, the Gong of Weakening in my build right here. So what I take as piece of armor, let's see, let's just go to the Enchanted tab right here. So we have the Wither Armor, power level 251. I still wasn't able to find a gilded unique variant of this type of armor, but that's also something I'm not really searching for because I think this one is already good enough to deal with the highest Apocalypse Plus. Some days ago, I also made a video about what's coming for dungeons, the tower video, right? I also shared my feelings about the current state of Minecraft Dungeons a little bit right there. I said that I currently don't really need any better gear. So why would I farm for a gilded unique if I can already take down the highest Apocalypse Plus without the gilded? Because it's already strong enough, guys, seriously. If you go and play some of those daily trials with multiple raid captains, you can get your hands on even higher power level items. For example, the 262 right here, which makes the damage like twice as high. So that is pretty impressive. If you find a Wither Armor with, for example, power level 255 with already 2 out of 3 enchantments, which you can find on this one, then it's gonna be sufficient enough as well. But let's cover the enchantments, guys. I work with, of course, the built-in ones, damage reduction. I think this is very important for the highest Apocalypse Plus. Focus on some armor that at the same time gives you some damage and also gives you a little bit of tankiness. This one doesn't give me any damage, but it does give me extra soul gathering. So that means the damage is actually translated to my Torment Quiver because I can use this one to one-hit kill masses of mobs if they are stacking up. And then, of course, we also have the Lifesteal Aura, so it gives me extra survivability on the highest Apocalypse Plus. What I think is pretty interesting is that you also have, of course, the soul gathering. You can combine that with ranged weapons. For example, the Bow of the Lost Souls right here. I only have one right now, unfortunately. But let's search for this enchantment, guys. The Anima Conduit grants a small amount of your health for every soul you absorb. So if you have this on tier 3, that means every time when you kill a mob, you get their soul, you will heal yourself for 6% of your HP. I think this is one of the most powerful and underestimated enchantment, pretty much. Very undervalued. I don't see many people picking it, even though most of you guys don't even play with ranged all the time. I mean, I play with my ranged weapon all the time because I use the Torment Quiver, my Winter's Touch. I'll get to it in a second, but if you don't even use it, it's gonna be extremely interesting to focus on certain armor enchantments like the looting, because if you kill mobs with your melee, you will also have an increased chance for mobs to drop consumables. So you just take them down with your Fighter's Bindings or your Whirlwind Axe and they will drop the potions. I think the same counts for the Refreshment, so if you defeat a mob, it will also reduce the cooldown of your potion. I think that's a pretty interesting one to take. And then you also have another one. Let's search for it. I'm not really sure if... there we have it. The Prospector. Many of you guys are probably very happy about Prospector weapons and armor, right? Well, if you put this on a ranged weapon, you also find more emeralds every time when you take down mobs with, for example, your Torment Quiver, your melee weapon. So I think it's a very interesting one to take. So we just combined the weapon, the armor and the range weapon a little bit, but let's get back to my wither armor, guys. So the enchantments which I have, and I think this is already the top tier, most important enchantment for every single one of you guys to take is the chilling, because it's emits a blast every 2 seconds and reduces the movement speed, but also the attack speed of nearby enemies for 1 second. So triggering every 2 seconds, it reduces the both movement and attack speed by 60%. On both. So that is very powerful, because on the highest Apocalypse Plus, the mobs are extremely fast, but at the same time they hit pretty fast as well. And it can be annoying, especially with the pillagers, the bigger guys with the axes. Oh man, they hit like a truck. They can make your day really bad if you don't have something like Trilling. In addition to that, I also have the snowball to make their lives even more terrible. I mean, this fires a snowball at nearby enemies every few seconds to briefly stun them. And this works very well against creepers. I already talked about this many times, but since it triggers every single second, it means it will always stun a creeper if it's alone nearby. And of course, if they want to explode, it's simply not gonna happen if they are stunned. If you have like 2 mobs around you, this can continuously stun them as well, if of course you're a little bit lucky with the snowball choosing the right target. But in general, I think the snowball is a very strong enchantment. It's not top tier, but it's really good. I mean, I would call it top tier for myself because I just really like it, the way how it prevents creepers from exploding. But you could also go with something else on this one. Next up, we have the Final Shout. When your health drops below 25%, all your artifacts are used ignoring the cooldown periods. And this is something I talked about with many people. Some people say that I should go with the cooldown reduction right here, and I entirely agree. It's a very good alternative to the Final Shout, but at the same time, right now, I can choose whenever I want to use my artifacts. And the thing is, some artifacts don't really need this. For example, if you go with cooldown reduction, guys, listen to this. So let's say we find... Oh, where is it? Where is it? We need to find a piece of armor with cooldown reduction. Oh man, there are so many of them. Here we go. So this will reduce the cooldown time between the uses of your artifacts by almost 40%. So that means things like the Death Cap Mushroom, they already have a 30-second cooldown, 20-second duration. So 30% of the time, you won't be able to use it, pretty much. It will be off. The active effect will be off. But the same counts for the Ironhide Amulet. This one also has a long cooldown, long duration. If you have cooldown reduction, of course, you'll be able to use it 24/7 as well, which I think is great. For Gong of Weakening, it matters less because, of course, this already has a pretty short cooldown. I mean, the 20 seconds. So the cooldown reduction on the Gong of Weakening would mean 20-second cooldown minus 40% is going to be 12 seconds. And with something like the Death Cap Mushroom, 30 seconds will become 18 seconds. I think it's really interesting to go with the 40%, but of course, it's the 38, not 40 exactly. But if we actually focus on something like the Final Shout, you'll be able to use your artifacts every 8th second. So instead of 18, you will have a 8 seconds cooldown. In my opinion, that is way more interesting. Of course, all things like the Death Cap Mushroom, Ironhide Amulet, it wouldn't make any difference. But what I think is really cool for this is the Torment Quiver, because this one requires souls. If it gets triggered with a Final Shout, of course, it will try and take as many souls as it needs for this one to get active. But if you don't have any souls, you will also be able to activate the Torment Quiver if you drop below 25%. Same counts with the Gong of Weakening. What I think is really powerful with the Gong of Weakening is that, of course, it weakens the enemies around you to make them deal less damage, but at the same time, their defensive capabilities also get reduced. So that means they become extremely squishy. You'll be able to take them down very fast. And of course, that happens if you drop below 25% HP. So what we're doing right here is forcing ourselves to go below 25% HP. Then you will automatically Gong around us. So the mobs will deal less damage. We'll be able to take them down without a problem. And we will also have our Torment Quiver ready. And of course, the Deathcap Mushroom. So everything gets triggered. It doesn't really need any cooldown on these items. It will ignore the cooldown periods. So I think it's a very powerful combo. I'll show you that in a second. Anyways, one of the most important things in your build is your melee weapon, guys. I think everybody can agree with that. And of course, also the Fighter's Bindings still being extremely powerful, but we have alternatives as well. So I am still rolling with a Shockwave critical hit Radiance combo of enchantments. We also have a built-in swirling right here. So you can definitely tell that this is a very powerful Fighter's Bindings. It has enough AoE damage with both the swirling, the Shockwave. We can have some range damage as well. The critical hit allows you to melt bosses and of course other tough mobs very quickly, especially in combination with the Gong of Weakening. But then we also have the Radiance. And because of course this weapon has a very high attack speed, in combination with the Deathcap Mushroom, it will hit even faster. So right now we just hit the target dummy. You can tell how many times the Radiance heals us. If we use a Deathcap, it goes even faster. So I think this is very awesome. And the red numbers, guys, I'm just really in love with them. Critical hit is also one of those enchantments which you either like or don't like at all. I mean, there are so many people who prefer to go with Committed as alternative over critical hit, and I would say, of course, that is also going to work very well. Committed is one of those enchantments that's pretty bad against weak mobs, because if you can already 1 or 2 hit them, it won't make much of a difference. I think with the critical hit, it's even easier to do those 1 hits. But if you focus on tankier mobs that actually deal both a lot of damage, have big HP pools like bosses, mini bosses, enchanted mobs, then the Committed is very interesting, because of course the more HP you take away from them, and especially interesting if they have something like the heals allies, you have to take them down quickly. And of course, if they already lost some HP, it's going to be even easier to take them down. Then the Committed works very well, because if you, let's say, already dealt 50% of the damage on their HP, it will increase your base damage by 50% as well. And this is extremely powerful. Anyways, it's not my favorite enchantment. Right now, though, we also have a new top tier enchantment. Let's find it for a second. This is the Void Strike, guys. Attacking a target applies a damage multiplier that rises steadily to a max level, then it is removed. This one increases your damage by up to 600%. So that is a pretty crazy multiplier, guys. But it also only is very effective on average speed weapons. So you shouldn't really put this one on a Fighter's Bindings, because it's not going to make a huge difference. Let's see if I have one right here with the Void Strike. Doesn't look like it. We do have the Maulers, though. They also have a pretty high attack speed. So let me just equip this one for a second and show you the base damage. So it deals 166 damage, and then with the final hits, 233,000 and 299,000. So that is cool and all. If we use a Deathcap Mushroom, of course, the values will be exactly the same. But right now we are going to put the Void Strike on the maximum tier. So 399 was the final strike, right? So if we hit this one, the 166 is the first hit, but the second will be 900. But of course, if we keep hitting with our maximum attack speed, you can see that the base hit right there is at 233. So that is not much added damage to that. And then, of course, the final hit will hit for 500,000. So that is already a pretty cool number. But if you have the Deathcap Mushroom on, it will only be up to 460,000. So you can already tell that it is interesting, but on slower weapons, it's going to be way more powerful. Let's find a Whirlwind, for example. This is just perfect, guys. Or a Highlight Axe. So these have an average attack speed. Look at that. They are way slower, but also deal a lot more damage. So if I equip this bad boy for a second and just show you how much damage it deals without the Void Strike. 660,000. If we, of course, use the Deathcap Mushroom, it will be exactly the same. But right now, if we put our Void Strike on it, there will still be a little bit of time in between our attacks, even though we have the Death Cap Mushroom active. So right now we actually hit for, instead of 66,000, we hit for over 1 million. So we hit for 1.3 million right there. I think that is a pretty impressive. I mean, that almost doubles the damage 24/7. So that is pretty impressive, right? From 66 to 1.1 and 1.3. So we have, of course, a double attack animation. So on slower weapons like the Whirlwind Axe, this is definitely a top tier enchantment. On very slow weapons, it's also going to work very well. I also found this Hawk Brand some time ago with a built-in critical hit, of course, but also the tier 3 Swirling as gilded enchantment, also with a Void Strike, Refreshment, and Radiance. I think it's also a pretty cool roll. I mean, if we equip this bad boy for a second, look at this. We hit for 600,000 with our lowest hit. And if we don't have the Void Strike effect active, I think it's only half the damage as well. So look at that, 332,000, but the rest of the hits is going to deal over 600,000. So if we use a Death Cap Mushroom, you can definitely tell that you'll be able to destroy bosses with this. I think it's going to be really awesome. So let's go back to my Fighter's Bindings. So the Fighter's Bindings, very high attack speed weapon. I think you should go with things like Critical Hit, Shockwave, Radiance, because with the Radiance you'll be able to heal yourself very fast. Of course, the Shockwave also allows you to do AoE ranged damage, area effect range damage. Also, the Swirling does exactly that. With Critical Hit, you could also go with Committed. It's really up to you. You could also go with a base Sharpness enchantment. I think these are also pretty interesting still. They aren't even powerful enchantments, but they are actually powerful, guys, because it already adds 33% damage to your weapon. I also made a video about either Critical Hit, Sharpness, or Committed. What is going to be the best out of these three for single target damage? Definitely make sure to check it out in the top right of the screen. It's still a very interesting and up-to-date video, but right now, of course, we want to focus a little bit more on our ranged weapon. So the ranged weapon right here, I have a Winter's Touch with fires 3 arrows when charged and freezes enemies on impact. The freezing is not very powerful, but I think what the first one does right here, fires 3 arrows when charged, is very powerful. So normally if you shoot this weapon, wait a second, it will of course shoot only 1 arrow, so that is cool and all. But if you hold it for a while, make it fully charged, you will shoot 3 arrows. And I have some built-in enchantments that actually allow me to be able to shoot 3 arrows 24/7. And this works very well in combination with the Torment Quiver, because you'll be able to destroy all the mobs in your path. And if you add this with the Gong of Weakening, oh boy, you'll be able to melt the bosses like crazy. This is not just with the Torment Quiver, but we also have the Dynamo. So this adds even more damage to it. It is insane. So Winter's Touch, we have the roll charge on there. This allows me to roll and then of course instantly shoot 3 arrows for 3 seconds. So that is very interesting. Then we also have the Supercharge. Charged shots deal even more damage and have more pushback. So that means if I do a roll, so with the roll charge, I can already shoot 3 arrows for 3 seconds after rolling, but next to that, we will have a 40% increased damage on all those arrows because we just rolled with the charge shots. And then we also have the Dynamo on that. So we will add bonus damage to the next attack after rolling. So you can tell that every time when I roll, my next attack is going to be extremely powerful. And in the 3 seconds in total, of course, we will shoot 3 arrows with 40% increased damage. Combine a Torment Quiver with that and a Gong of Weakening, and of course you will have yourself a killer machine weapon. I mean, just a couple rolls, 150 million damage for every single Torment Quiver. This is really impressive. Let me just roll for 20 times and show you how much damage we can deal with this combination. Okay, so here we are with 20 stacks of Dynamo. You can tell that I am literally on fire right now. But if we just perform one more roll, use the Gong of Weakening, bam, look at that. We deal minus 1 billion damage from every single arrow. So that means the game simply cannot recognize how much damage I'm doing right here. So 3 times we already break the maximum damage in the game with 1 single attack. So that is pretty impressive. This will literally make your score screen buggy in Minecraft Dungeons with just 1 single shot of your bow. So you can already tell that this is probably the best combo in the entire game to use. But of course, what if you don't have this combination? What if you don't have the roll of this Winter Touch? What is going to be interesting as well? Well, guys, something like an elite power ball with greater damage built in. You also have the Void Strike right there, a multi-shot. I think this is going to be pretty powerful. Let's go for the range tab right here. The Guardian Bow is also one of the most powerful weapons in the game. This one has a critical hit, artifact charge. This is pretty interesting, guys, because it has a growing overcharge. So it will continue to hold the range weapon button to double, triple, or even quadruple the charge of your bow to increase the damage. So you can charge your weapon 4 times. Let's just check this out for a second with the growing. And then also the artifact charge. I think this is going to be very interesting as well. So we're doing them once again. Look at that, 30 million damage with one single arrow. The problem is though, if we add a Torment Quiver to this and do the full charge, it actually deals less damage. Look at this, only 3 million damage right there. So definitely make sure that if you're going to use your Torment Quiver, also have a Dynamo on there, because otherwise it's not going to be as effective. This is actually pretty interesting. Find a Void Collar with built-in Anima Conduit right there. If you're not going to use a ranged weapon, I think the off heal in the background is going to be extremely powerful. Let's see if we have something else like this. Oh, we also have a Winter's Touch right here with a double looting, guys. So this means you'll be able to find potions 24/7 if you have this equipped on the battlefield. Really, I think the Bow of the Lost Souls is my second favorite ranged weapon, because this one also has a chance for multi-shot, but it also has a +1 soul gathering, so you will be able to use an Anima Conduit on this ranged weapon. I'm not really sure though why I deleted my previous Bow of the Lost Souls, because I currently don't have one anymore with a built-in Anima Conduit, but it would definitely be a very good alternative to my Winter's Touch. So it would have, for example, the roll charge, the Dynamo, but then instead of the supercharge, you would go with something like the Anima Conduit. So it will also be extremely powerful in combination with the Torment Quiver, but instead it will also be able to heal you in the background all the time with the Anima Conduit. 6% for every time you take a soul. It is very powerful, guys, seriously. I mean, if we compare it with Leeching for a second, this is something you put on your melee weapon, like for example a Whirlwind Axe. I wouldn't suggest you to put this one on a fast weapon, because the Radiance is going to be way more interesting. But 9% of the mob's max HP is the maximum tier. 6% with the Anima Conduit, it's almost as powerful. So even you don't have to use the item, it will still heal you. I think it's really nice. Combine that with a weapon which does have Leeching, for example, you'll be able to heal yourself for 15% every time you kill a mob. So you can already do the math, guys. It's very powerful. We still have some weapons like the Sponge Striker. Are they interesting? Oh yeah, baby. They are still very powerful. I think they're going to work well with the Void Strike. Of course, also with the Swirling or the Shockwave. Then also the Radiance. So this weapon is going to hit like a truck. Let's say I'm just going to put my Void Strike on here to the maximum tier. We're also going with... we can go with either Shockwave or Swirling. This one actually deals more damage, but Swirling only allows you to deal damage around you from nearby. I think I still like Swirling a little bit more though, because when mobs start swarming around you, this is going to be extremely helpful. So if we hit the target dummy right here, look at that, we hit for 500,000 damage. We still have the other enchantment, which is still very broken, guys. Let's see, we have the pain cycle right here. So if we put this one on this weapon, look at that, we still deal damage for 8 million right there. Whoa, man, this is insane. This is really insane. Wow, man, this weapon literally kills me. We are currently at 1 HP. So definitely make sure to put something on here like the Radiance, because this is the only way to keep yourself alive, with, of course, also the Anima Conduit. A decent alternative to the Whirlwind Axe would be the Highlight Axe. I still think though that the stun mobs on tier 1 is really bad. I mean, if we look at this enchantment for a second, it only has a 5% chance to stun your enemies, so it's just going to be a little bit too slow for you, but the damage is going to be very nice if you add a Void Strike on this one. Same counts for the spears. I mean, they aren't fantastic weapons, but you can definitely use them for the highest Apocalypse Plus. If you put a Void Strike on there, also a Swirling, and something like the Radiance, because it already has a pretty decent attack speed, you'll be able to deal a lot of damage with a Void Strike, and then a Swirling or a Shockwave would proc quite frequently, allowing you to deal with those big packs of mobs, destroying everything around you. I think Moon Daggers are actually pretty interesting right now as well, because you do have the Soul Gathering, Soul Critical Boot, so that is a built-in critical hit. I think that's a very awesome one. If you combine it with Void Strike, Swirling, then for example the Radiance, I think this is going to be a very nice one. Anchors aren't my favorite because they're simply extremely slow, aren't very safe to use if you want to heal yourself like with the Fighter's Bindings Radiance combo, but they still hit like a truck, probably one-hit kill most of the mobs in the game, so they can be pretty interesting. And if you put a Dynamo on this bad boy, it will deal even more damage based on the stacks you have with a poison. I mean, if you have 20 Dynamo stacks, if you hit something with a poison, the poison damage will be crazy. It's pretty overpowered as well. To end this video, I also want to show you some really awesome pieces of armor, which I think are great as alternative to the Wither armor, because I always say that this is like the best armor in the game, but there are actually a lot more of them, which I think are really awesome if you find the right enchantments. So Hero's Armor, health potions, heal nearby allies, not fantastic. 35% damage reduction is very awesome for the highest Apocalypse Plus. Mob targets you more is also not really interesting. Only, of course, if you play with other people, so you can tank. But the 40% potion cooldown works very well in potion refreshment combos. So if you have a weapon with refreshment on there, let's see. This one has refreshment. Defeating a mob reduces your health potion's cooldown time, allowing you to heal again more quickly. 3-second health potion cooldown. So that is insane, guys. If you use this with a 40% reduced cooldown, that is gonna be insane. But there is another piece of armor which I really like with this Stalwart Armor. This one also has the 35% damage reduction, 30% chance to negate hits. So it's even tankier. The roll cooldown is pretty bad, but please just don't use your roll too often for this one. But then we have the potion use boost defense, and that is actually an enchantment which I really love, guys. Let's see if we can find it on one of these pieces of armor. This is the potion barrier. Every time when you use your healing potion, you take minus 90% of the damage for a short duration, which is, in my opinion, one of the best armor enchantments in the game, which you can have built in. So that is really nice. It's only on the Stalwart Armor. Maybe you can find it on a maybe you can find it on a mystery armor, but I am not really sure about that. We also have a pretty nice aggressive variant of this armor, which is the Renegade Armor, plus 25% melee attack speed, 35% damage reduction, weapon damage boost aura, which is really great, especially if you combine it with some other enchantments, for example, the Chilling, the Snowball, maybe even the Cowardice. If you can heal yourself up 24/7 to 100% of HP, then this one is definitely gonna hit like a truck. Don't use a Deathcap Mushroom with this armor, or maybe don't use a combo of Deathcap Mushroom and Fighter's Bindings together on this armor, because it will simply be overkill. I also have a video in the top right of the screen for this one. Definitely make sure to check it out. Anyways, Spider's Armor is also really nice because it has a built-in lifesteal, also the 25% melee attack speed, which you can find on the Renegade Armor. It is very nice to deal a lot of damage, but it doesn't give you any tanky perks, so it can make you very squishy. It is scary to use this one, but of course, if you already have a pretty high power level with a lot of HP, I think this is gonna be very nice as well. Titan's Shroud, also undervalued, and I think a very nice one because it does have the extra damage reduction you need, the Soul Gathering for some extra Anima Conduit off heal in the background, of course also for your Torment Quiver is going to be really nice, but also the 20% weapon damage boost aura, so slightly more aggressive in comparison with the Wither Armor, but can definitely work very well on the highest Apocalypse Plus. And then, of course, we also have some speedrunning gear. I think the Verdant Robe is one of the best out there. You have the move speed aura, which is, of course, essential for speedrunning. Artifact cooldown, minus 40%. We also have extra Soul Gathering, so it can allow you to heal in the background. Maybe use your Torment Quiver if you want to. But also double cooldown reduction on this one. And the third one is the Swift-Footed. Increases my movement speed by 50% every time when I roll. So I think this is really nice. Especially in combination with ranged weapons who actually have the Tempo Theft on there. So if you roll with a Burst Bowstring and Tempo Theft, you'll be able to steal movement speed of enemies, so you will have another plus 50% move speed. This literally makes you a Ferrari on the battlefield. I already made a pretty nice parody video on it, top right of the screen. But back to the tanky armor, guys. I think the sturdy Shuriko armor can also be very interesting for the highest Apocalypse Plus if you're gonna go with a full tank build. I mean, listen to this, guys. Mobs target you more, can be interesting if you're playing with a team. Deflect enemy projectiles on tier 1, which is, of course, the deflect. Let's see if we can find it. Oh, we find it right there. So there's a 25% chance to trigger. I think that's pretty interesting. But then we also have take less damage when swarmed. We already made a video about this. We will pretty much reduce all the damage, all the incoming damage by 50% if 4 or more mobs are around us. So I think this is going to be really nice if you are always in the front line. Then add a chilling to that. I think this is going to be really cool. Or maybe even a potion barrier to make you a lot tankier with some refreshment on your weapon to be able to use the potion 24/7. Of course, if you want to go for unique hunting, I think the Luck of the Sea is always nice. But if you want to go tanking, guys, I'm not really sure if you want to go with this one. You can just go with even more protection or something like the Snowball. This is what I just really like to roll with on the highest Apocalypse Plus, but let me just quickly show you what happens with the Final Shout, guys, because I said it's a really interesting enchantment to use. Look at this. We just triggered our Final Shout with the Gong of Weakening, the Deathcap Mushroom, and also the Torment Quiver, which is something I wanted to show you since the beginning of this video. But you can tell that it is pretty interesting to already have my Torment Quiver ready right now. So all I have to do is roll. We don't have to gather any souls for this, and we can already use it from the very start. So all you have to do in order to trigger it, let me just deplete my arrows for a second. All you have to do is find a pack of mobs. Of course, not too many because they will destroy you. Roll away when you're really low. And right now, of course, we have our Torment Quiver active. Once again, we can use a potion or, of course, heal ourselves very quickly with the Deathcap Mushroom Fighter's Bindings combo. With Radiance, it goes really fast, guys. You'll be able to get yourself to top HP in no time. But right now, we have the Torment Quiver active once again, and we can already start dealing with very tough mobs like those with the Electrified. I think those are pretty scary to deal with at the beginning if you don't have the Torment Quiver ready. It can be a problem, but we already have the Gong of Weakening at the beginning, right? You can already nuke down mobs very, very fast. So yeah, there you have it. The weapons and armor, I think, are the best for the highest Apocalypse Plus. But of course, if you find something else with similar enchantments for armor, guys, seriously, Chilling, Snowball, Cooldown Reduction, Final Shout, those are the top 4 in my opinion. If you find a melee weapon, a fast one, definitely go with Radiance, Shockwave, Swirling. Those are really awesome. You could also go with the Void Strike, Critical Hit, Committed. Same counts for slower weapons. I think they will work very well with these enchantments. But instead of Radiance, go with a Leeching. For very slow weapons, a Void Strike is going to be top tier as well. And of course, for the ranged, I think the Anima Conduit is going to be really nice. If you want to have some extra heal, of course, it will only be something which you'll be able to find on soul ranged weapons. But then we also have things like Looting, we have Prospector on range. So right now, all these things are going to be pretty interesting as well. Of course, there are still many more interesting enchantments to talk about, very awesome combos, but I think these are just very accessible and top tier to get your hands on for your playthroughs, and of course if you want to deal with raid captains pretty easily. Guys, let me know in the comments if you don't agree with something or if you want to share your build, of course, with the community. I think it's going to be really nice to get a conversation going in the comment section. Alright, so guys, there you have it. Pretty much everything you need to know about what I think are the best weapons, armor, and of course also enchantments to use for the highest Apocalypse Plus. And oh, looks like we are also getting a little showcase of how the Snowball works. So imagine this being a creeper. It would pretty much destroy me while I am doing this little conversation with you guys. But right now we're just simply 24/7 stunning it, so it doesn't stand a chance. Right now we can just simply take it down without a problem and continue our talk. No, but guys, really a big thanks for watching. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed watching this video, and of course subscribe for more because there is so much more Minecraft and Minecraft dungeons coming your way. Right now though, it's 4 AM out, time to continue working on the SMP and of course work on my next ranking video. Make sure to leave some more thoughts in the comments if you want me to make a certain video. I am very happy to read all those. Guys, till next time, 4 AM out. Peace.